Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for another video. So today we are back building another house in The Sims 4. So we are in Windenburg building the Allwynds Summer Estate, which is what I decided to call it. But this build is a little bit different because this is a build with a very good friend of mine. His name is Arthur from the Simified. I'm sure you guys have heard of him. Great channel and everything. So today we are collabing on this build. So I actually built the house, as you can see here. I'm building it, and Arthur was the one who was furnishing it. So this kind of house had a bit of inspiration from Google. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Originally, this wasn't the house that I gave him for our collab. I gave him a different house. I built a whole other house. And the gallery did that really annoying thing where I had previously downloaded a lot. And I like bulldozed a lot and everything. And then like started building. And it still said that it was originally by the other person, although I completely bulldozed it. So I decided in the end to say to him that I didn't want to use that one because it said it was by somebody else. So I changed the lot, and then I just changed the whole build as well, because I hate like recreating houses I've already built, because I feel like they never come out the same. They're not as fun to build the second time round. So I decided to go for something completely different. So I went to Google for some inspiration, and I was just Googling. I don't even know what I Googled, but I just Googled different types of houses and stuff. And I used Pinterest, and I follow different things on Twitter for houses and stuff, which always gives me lots of inspiration. So I kind of took some inspiration for that. It was a picture of the back of the house. So that's why I sort of like built the back part first, and then I'm trying to do the front, and this isn't how the front stays. I don't think it stays like this for too long anyway, and then I changed it because I wasn't happy with it. But it was a bit more of a traditional house, but not like super traditional. It could totally be like modernised on the inside, I think. I know that the Simified is definitely into his modern houses, so I reckon that he'll probably do a modern interior on this one. I haven't actually seen what he's done with it yet, so I'm quite excited to see. All the links and everything will be in the description to his part of the video. Like I said, he'll be doing the furnishing, so definitely go check that out. But the outside of the house is quite traditional. It's like blue paneling, or not blue, it's like darker than that, but it's like paneling and like Georgian type windows and all that kind of stuff. But I really like the way this house turned out. I think it looks really nice, and it's definitely like a summer house, possibly, maybe. I don't know if it I think it could work on like a beach, maybe. But yeah, that's what I decided to go for in the end, and I really like how it turned out. So you can see here I'm just sort of messing around with all the different roofs and everything, and I added this sort of little balcony part on the back of the house in between these two big sections here, which was actually from the picture that I found, and that's how what I sort of based the whole house around. So I'm putting in a pool here. This whole back area changes quite a lot actually. The backyard is quite, I don't know, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I don't know how to describe it, but there's a lot of like decking and no sort of grass areas, but it's quite cool, I think. I like the way it looks anyway. Here trying to add in a front entrance, I was really trying to struggle because I thought it was quite a big house, quite grand, and I wanted to add something that made a bit of a statement on the front, but not like too much, and I don't know, the front wasn't looking great, but I do like how it turned out in the end. So I can see here I'm going around adding lots of like column accents to all of the corners of the house. I just used those plain white square columns that came with Get Together, I think they came with. Get Together is a great pack for all things building and clothes and everything. Even if you were to leave gameplay out, it's like such a worthwhile pack in my opinion. So raising the wall heights up here because I realised that they were on the lowest wall height, and I really don't like the lowest wall height that much. It only works for like cute cottage builds or whatever, but any other thing I always use medium walls on the bottom floor. I actually use medium walls on the top floor of this house as well because I wanted it to look quite grand. So that's what we're doing. We're adding an entrance here, and this is how the entrance stays. Similar, I do change that roof on the front, and it definitely worked much better than what I had originally, I think. And we are adding just some roof trim and all that kind of stuff, and I think I go around and do the windows possibly. I do use a few different types of windows. I like mixing up the windows. I used to be really sort of not strict, but like I'd only use one type and I'd use that everywhere. But I don't know, there's so many different types of windows in The Sims 4 that I think it's good. Then you can sort of mix and match, because as long as you stick with the basic colours, either like brown or white, then you can get most of them in those colours. Obviously, like in The Sims 3, you could just colour anything, any colour, but in The Sims 4 you do have to be careful. You kind of have to pick like a base colour. So I went for just all white windows, which I thought looked really cool for this style of house, to be honest. So yeah, I do a layout for the inside, like a floor plan for Arthur, and I do scatter some furniture around just to show him which room I thought would be what. But then obviously he's more than entitled to change that up whatever he feels. But I know that that's something that he usually does, or he's told me that he does when he does collabs, is just put in some furniture so he knows which rooms are what. So that's what I kind of do in a minute or two, if you're wondering. So the interior is all his. I was just putting in to let him know like what room I thought would be the living room, what room I thought would be the kitchen. But he can totally change that up. I don't know. I haven't seen his video yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to what he thought about the house and how he furnished it and everything. So here I'm laying out the floor plan, and I think there is 3 or 4 bedrooms in this house in the end. I think there's 4, I think, and 1, 2, 3 bathrooms, possibly even 4 bathrooms. I think there might be 4 actually. I'm not sure. We'll see. Obviously, he might change the floor plan, so that could all be subject to change. So it's actually quite a large build. It's definitely not a starter home. It's definitely a pricey one, and you probably have to use cheats to be able to afford this, unless you've been playing with a family for a long time and have a lot of funds. I don't think this is definitely going to be a cheap one. But yeah, I just love how it turned out. I think the outside is quite not luxurious. That's not the right word. It's quite sort of packed. There's lots of going on and stuff. I put like a whole outside. I was going to put in an outside movie area. I didn't like how it looked in the end. You'll see that when we come to it. It's kind of I kind of try out a few different things, lots of different things in the gardens. When obviously you're building in a collab, you don't do any interior work, so I wanted to make sure the outside looked really amazing. So I was really happy with how it turned out in the end anyway. Lots of lush landscaping and lots of places to sit and just loads of stuff going on, to be honest. Using these windows from Get Together, which I absolutely love. I use these a lot in my recent builds and like in my personal game as well. I just love all the stuff that came with Get Together. I think it's so cool. So just adding in all the doors on the floor plan here and all that kind of stuff, and then going back outside, and I think we're going to paint when we come back possibly. So a little jump there where I had enough for one day and then came back later on. So here we are adding all this paneling. I know exactly what paneling I want to use for this house because I'd seen somebody else's build where they had used this paneling, and I thought that looked so cool. So I was like, yep, definitely going to use that on this house. I think it will work so well, and I am really happy with how it looked. So changing this, I did have a balcony here. Didn't like the way it looked in the end, so I'm just adding a roof on this sort of wraparound bit now. The verandas, like the back sort of porch area and then this wraparound veranda, do join up in the end because they don't at the moment. But I thought that was kind of pointless, so I do join them up in the end via like a back gate, which you'll see, I think, momentarily. I think it's coming pretty soon when I go in and do the pool and everything, because the pool now doesn't stay the same. Like I said, the back garden changes quite drastically from what it looks like right now. So going through and doing some path and everything and adding in some stones, and we go for like a border edge stone and then like mixed stones in the middle, if that makes sense. So yeah, I didn't want to do wood on the decks. I wanted to do like stone and concrete. I just thought it would be a bit of a different look, so that's what I went with in the end. And making that front deck there a little bit bigger, so it's kind of uneven on both sides, but you can't really notice it from the front or the back. So I don't know, I wanted to bring it forward because there was only like a 1 tile gap. I don't know if you guys saw what I was talking about there, but it went pretty quick. Added a foundation paint, is that what they're called? Like the stones on the bottom there, just to mix it up from the paneling. I thought the stone was a nice accent. Definitely gave it a bit more of a, I don't know, built-in look, I guess. But yeah, so messing around with the pool here, and I do sort of like a hexagonal pool kind of thing, like this one right here. I'm not sure what kind of type of pool you'd call that, like what shape it is, but it's got little sort of diagonal bits on the corner. Adding in a back fence, and then we do go and completely change the backyard. So this is what I'm talking about. I add a whole deck area here, delete this bit and drag it out some more, and then I put the pool on this raised deck area, which connects to where the outside barbecue and everything is going to be later on. So I put a half wall around here and wrap it around for privacy, obviously, because like you don't want to be in the pool and then everyone be able to see you and all that kind of stuff, especially in your own garden. So adding in a bunch of steps down to the other patio that will be there in a bit. Adding on some fencing to these, what are they called? Like verandas, porch things, and then adding in a fence there as well. I coloured this half wall in the same paneling that I had on the house, but then I decided that looked stupid against the fence, so I added a white paneling in. And the white paneling from Spa Day actually works really well with that perfect patio fencing, because there isn't one that matched, but that spa day one came really close to it, because that perfect patio fencing that I've used is really, really white, like really pigmented, as a lot of the other whites aren't quite as bright, but that spa day wallpaper worked quite well, so I think it blended in pretty good. So adding in the rest of the patio here, I do go through a few different options here as I'm like creating the path around to the other back gate, but we do sort of square everything off, make it quite symmetrical, because I just thought it kind of worked for this build. Sometimes I don't like to make back gardens too like not landscaped, but I'm not sure what the word is, but like, you know, with paths and everything, sometimes they're more like terrain paint and sort of let it overflow and all that kind of stuff. But this one is definitely everything's in its own little flower bed and all that kind of thing. Covering up the roof up here because it was clipping through that balcony and it was annoying the hell out of me. So I put these sort of flower boxes from Get Together on top of it so you can't see. I thought that looked quite nice. And you can access that via the hallway upstairs. And then cutting these bits out of the foundation near the pool to put trees in, I thought was a nice idea, just to sort of have some more landscaping near the pool, because there wasn't enough, like, lot, as it were, to put trees behind the fencing. So I decided to sort of cut that out and put them in there. And then going through and making a few changes to the deck area here, the patio area, sorry. And then gonna add some landscaping in a second or two. We're gonna add these trees first. I really wanted to use these trees because it was quite a grand house. I thought, oh, there would definitely be trees like this on this house. I just felt like it matched. And then we add a really big tree off to the right over here because I wanted to squeeze in quite a big tree somewhere. But this lot is quite, there's not a lot of room for expansion on this lot. I do use a lot of it. I think it's a 30 by 40 lot. First I started off on like a 20 by 30 I think, but there was not enough room, so I just bulldozed that house and then came here and started fresh. I could have used a bit of a bigger lot, to be honest, but I think actually it looks quite nice because everything is so like packed in, like it's definitely like finished, as it were. So adding some flower pots out here, which I do get rid of later on. I really like the way it looked, but they looked too modern to go with the house, I think, so I got rid of them in the end and just used like normal flowers. So yeah. And then we are adding in some flower beds underneath the windows in flower pots and stuff, and I just used a plain white colour, not to use too many contrasting colours, and I think it looked really cool. Throwing in a chimney, because there is a fireplace in this build where, well, there is when I put one in. Whether Arthur keeps that or not was entirely up to him. Like I said, you'll be able to see in his video, which you should totally go check out. Like I said, the links will be in the description, and his is the second part, so make sure to finish watching this part first so you can see how the house is built and everything, and then go check his out for furnishing. The screenshots at the end are just of my part, so if you want to see his, then definitely go check it out. And adding in like a barbecue and everything here on the back, we go for these... what did I just say? I just said it. Perfect Patio, that's it. I use a lot of stuff from Perfect Patio because this really is the perfect patio in my opinion. So throwing in all like your utensils that you'd be using here, and I use one of those cool little hanging plant decorations from Movie Hangout stuff, which I really like. I think there's a lot of cool stuff in that pack. Doing some outdoor lighting and all that kind of stuff. I like to do a lot of lighting outside, like light the house up when it's a grand house, because I think when you drive past a lot of like really big mansions or really big houses, you always see them always lit up, which I don't think is something that a normal house really has. Like you might have one outdoor light by your front door or something, but it's not like, it doesn't light the whole house up. So yeah, I just thought I'd do that and throw it in to make it a bit different. So here you can see I've thrown in the outdoor table, and now I'm throwing in some seating. So first of all, I use those benches from Get Together, which I do use later on, but I didn't like the way they looked just here. I really liked them, but I don't know, it wasn't working for me. So I used the Perfect Patio sofas, and then I used those benches a bit later on, which you'll see near like the pool and stuff, because I thought, I don't know, I just thought they worked better there for some reason. So as you can see, this is what I was talking about earlier when I threw in the Movie Hangout screen outside. And looking at it now, I actually really like the way it looks, having like an outdoor movie screen, but we don't keep it, we do change it up, and I throw in an outside fireplace, because that is like one of my favourite things. If I go on a holiday and they have like an outside fire pit or fireplace, I think it's so nice to sit outside in warmer weather and have the fireplace on and just sit outside like all evening with the fire. So I thought that was a nice touch to put in, and I do try and put some like mirrors and stuff in a bit later on. I don't know if I go and do it right now. I don't think I do it right now, but I do try to put some mirrors in outside, because I really like mirrors outside for some reason. I think it makes a garden look so contemporary and really sort of landscaped and just looks really cool. But it didn't work on this one. I got rid of them in the end. So yeah, just throwing in all the landscaping over here in these flower beds now. We go for, at first I was going to do really sort of just green landscaping and more like trimmed, sort of like kept neat ones, but I decided that the house was very sort of, or the backyard was very sort of like put together and everything in its place, so I decided to go for more sort of messy landscaping and just throw in a bunch of flowers just as a bit of a contrast. I'm just filling up these sort of like little flower bed sections where these trees are at the back over here near the pool, and then we do go and add in some seating near the pool as well, which I do change a bit later on to put in the other sofas that we had from Get Together a second ago. So here you can see I'm throwing in these mirrors, which I delete because the fence wasn't tall enough or these mirrors were too tall and it just didn't quite look just right. And the thing is, when you add a wall outside, it adds it on the foundation level, as you guys know, so it's a bit annoying sometimes because you want it to be a bit lower down, but then the tallest half wall wasn't quite tall enough and there was just no middle ground that I could find that worked, so I decided to scrap the whole idea. And back out the front here, we're adding in some more flowers and some more landscaping, just making this house look really lush and really sort of taken care of. And again, a bunch of flowers and putting some terrain paint underneath just to make it look more realistic. And I do sort of like a very spaced out border with those rocks at the front there, because sometimes I do a really sort of like close together with the rocks to make it look like a rock border, but I did it just sort of very sparsely there, and I think it looked pretty cool. So we're again adding another flower bed over here, and I keep saying flower bed instead of just like landscaping because it is definitely more neat than a lot of landscaping that I usually do. Everything's sort of in its place. So, and then we go through, and I think I must have cut that other part out. There was a whole part where I did like a whole different path round and it just looks so ridiculous because there wasn't enough space on the lot, so I didn't do that in the end, so I must have cut that part out. And now just adding in a few more flowers and things here at the front again, just to give it that really lush feel. And you can see like I've got the contrast between like the built-in flower beds and then just like a bit of messy terrain where some flowers and stuff might have grown. I just think it was a good contrast for this house because there wasn't a lot of space left on the lot, but it works definitely. So yeah, and then adding in so just some, here is where I think I changed the back again for a little bit because I go to add in a bench here at the front because I thought there's no point having a veranda with nothing on it, so I add in these seats that I had earlier, and I keep them in that blue colour, which matches one really nicely with the deck and the siding, and then matches with the other blue sofas that I used on the patio. So it all sort of tied in, but I thought this one looked better because these could sort of stay out all year round because they're sort of like wooden and then you could just take the cushions off of them, as the other ones you would have to put away, I think, because they'd probably get ruined. Not that it rains in The Sims, and even if it did they wouldn't get ruined, but just for realism, I like to think like that. So yeah, adding in another tree and then finishing off the flower beds at the back here. Again, this is very, very lush and just has a lot of bushes and plants and flowers in it. I just love the way it looks, and I'm really excited for romantic garden stuff that comes out on the 9th, I think it is, which is next Tuesday, because that comes with a bunch of new flowers and all that kind of stuff, or just a bunch of new like landscaping stuff, which I think we were in dire need of because we've had quite a few packs for The Sims 4 now and we haven't really had much added in the way of plants and flowers and things. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Here I added an outside rug. In The Sims 3 I always used to add outside rugs, and then I would use Creator Style to make like the rugs wicker, because I think you see a lot of outdoor wicker furniture. I suppose because it just works well with weather, but there isn't something like that in The Sims 4 until I found these little rugs that came with Spa Day, I think it is, and I turned them to this grey colour, and I think they look so cool. I think they really work. They kind of look like little sort of wooden mats that you'd roll out, and I think they look cool. So I put those in front of each one of the benches. There's like somewhere to put your shoes, and then you could like, don't have to like get messy feet or whatever. I don't know, I think they look cool anyway. Trying to make something with this wall here because the window was so off center and it was bugging the life out of me, and in the end I can't find anything that works, so I just moved the window over. And I do move the window at the top of the house as well so that it matches, because it was really bugging me. So my OCD was playing up a little bit there. Adding a fruit bowl to that table, and then some miscellaneous decor. So I add some towels in the pool here, again completely just decoration, obviously you can't use them. I add in like a garden hose and a bunch of garden utensils, even though I feel like the family that would live here probably would not do their own gardening, which they don't have to worry about now because with the latest patch we got gardens added back into The Sims, so that is awesome. I don't think we've had gardeners since The Sims 1, They might have been in The Sims 2, I can't remember. But I used to love that. It was one of my favourite NPCs to call up and have your gardener come around and do all the plants for you and everything. And so I'm super excited to have that back in the game, especially since gardening is such a fun skill to play with, but it just takes up so much time. So yeah, super excited to have that back in. As usual, sizing up some lanterns in the back garden there, just to fill up the space. I love doing that. I think it looks so cool. In my back garden, when I'm older, I'm definitely going to have lanterns out the back. I think oversized lanterns just look awesome with candles and stuff in them in the back garden. So yeah, doing that, and then adding some pool decor and all that kind of thing. Used the rose petals one on this pool. Just thought it was different. I usually use the really tropical looking one, but I decided to go for this one. I hope I don't change it now that I've said that, but I feel like maybe I do. Maybe I keep it with the rose petals. I think I do because it looked really different, so yeah. So to finish up, if you'd like to download this house, then you totally can. It's already on my gallery page under the hashtags Allwynds Summer Estate, or the name Allwynds Summer Estate, under the hashtag EndlxssSims or Endless or Allwynds or Summer Estate. Bunch of hashtags in there, like I always try to throw in so you guys can find it easily. There's also a link in the description. There's also a link in the description to Arthur's channel, so you can go check out the furnishing of this build. I will try and link his version of it, which will be the finished version, on his gallery page as well. Hopefully he's put it up there already, I'm not sure yet. So if you want to download the empty version, you can go to my gallery page and then furnish it for yourself, or if you want to download the full version, then you can go to his gallery page. So yeah, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next video. So be sure to check out Arthur's. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye everyone.